as promised, I am... Hear the rustling of the phones coming out. I love that. As promised, I am joined by Emily Watson, Olivia Williams, and Travis Fimmel. Hello. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you all. Okay, so first of all, start us off. Tell us what your relationship was with the Dune universe before you began filming.
Okay, I was a virgin, I have to say.
Virgin.
Well, by the time we shot, I'd seen the first Villeneuve movie.
Yeah.
But I hadn't read anything, so it was really... it became more intimidating as I got to know the world better, because I became aware of the love that there is out there for the whole universe. But it was such a great, just a great acting gig, really. You know, it was so much to get your teeth into, so no-brainer for me.
Yeah. What about you, Olivia?
I first became aware of my responsibility to sci-fi and the universe when a man came to fit a new TV, and I'm a bit of a technophobe. I told him I was playing Tula Harkonnen, and he knelt at my feet. And I thought, it's time to step up, learn my lines, and find out what this means to a large percentage of the world population.
Wow. Travis, anyone kneel at your feet when you told them that you were going to be?
Constantly.
Not at all. I was always a big Jetsons fan, Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
That was my sci-fi background.
Jetsons and Doctor Who. What an introduction.
Yeah. So I didn't know much about the Dune too, and it took me a year to read one novel, so I just said no to reading the books. But the scripts were so detailed, you know, and that's all sort of as an actor I had to know, you know.
We're very lucky that Alison is such an astonishing sort of font of knowledge on this one. I mean, she really knows her stuff, and Jordan and Alison had written a script that was so thorough in its world building and so observant and honours the Dune sort of legacy that we inherited. The other get out for us is that we're 10,000 years before Chalamet, and so they should be getting some notes from us about what they turn into, frankly. But this goes with absolute respect to Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya, who are astonishing actors, and whose work I was introduced to by my daughter, who's here tonight.
And also, it's very lovely for me to be the great times many ancestor of Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh,
yes.
That is a good link. Did you have any sort of powerful figures in mind, Emily, when you were sort of thinking about inspirations for Valia?
Yes, we did. When we got cast, Olivia and I went and sat in the National Portrait Gallery in front of the portraits of Elizabeth I and all the Tudor women, the queens, who lived in a world of a police state full of intrigue where, you know, saying the wrong thing was getting your head chopped off, and where the narrative was very, very closely controlled in a way that these women do. That's our currency, is controlling the narrative and, you know, making people think, letting people think that they're in charge, but they're not.
Where your sister can love you very much, but also sign your death warrant, and where, you know, the symbolism is all over the costumes in these Tudor portraits, and it's the same with the Bene Gesserit. Every piece, every artifact you see has a significance and a mythology to it, and so it felt very, very like Tudor England in many ways.
So interesting. And Travis, I sort of had Rasputin a bit in my mind when I was thinking about Desmond. So we don't really know where we stand with him so far. What really excited you about what you could bring to Desmond?
I liked his... I just don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. And he's obviously been hurt in the past, and he's going to make somebody pay for the pain that was caused to him. And he's... I think he'll do anything physically to somebody. to hurt them and make them pain, even if it hurts himself physically and mentally. It also turns him on a bit too. So I'm probably going to head to their yoga retreat at some stage and fuck up these witches.
It's a bit disappointing that in 10,000 years' time they haven't got a bit more therapy for people like you, I have to say.
Or you. There are these two are their bond as sisters is very close because they've been through. You will discover as the series go by they've had a very traumatic start in life, but they also share some very dark secrets which they have to keep, which is, and then they're like bombs that start going off.
Such tease.
I'm also here representing the younger sisters amongst you. What it's like to have a big sister who wants to run the universe.
Well, as the younger sister, what do you see kind of Tula's role as within the Bene Gesserit? And like from what we've seen, does Tula kind of align with what they stand for or what we think they stand for?
Well, she is. It's wonderful being an actor because I was hopeless at science at school, but I get to be the nerd in this, and they made me look good, made me look like I knew what I was doing with the test tube. So I had my lovely laboratory, but there is a serious point to this, which is this amazing Dune universe has. Oh, thank you. Hello, darling. Has a connection, has an understanding of fear. That fear it can be something that is infectious, and fear can be something that undermines you. And we're now beginning to understand that the bacteria in your stomach, for example, can cause depression or affect your moods. And we're onto that. So I think Tula's role at this point in the sisterhood is to be the resident scientist and geek, but it's been quite annoying never to be asked to run the show until now.
I think one of the really great powers that the sisterhood have is to be able to hack your own biology. And we have this thing where we can go into our DNA and speak to our ancestors, which is that would be fun.
Yeah, and I think our ancestors might have something to tell us, about what's going on Earth at the moment, but nobody's listening to them.
We're kind of used to these really immersive worlds with the films, and the TV show is no different. I mean, the production design is stunning. We are completely taken out of our surroundings at any point. So for you, Travis, to start us off, what was it that kind of really grounded you in the Dune universe on the set?
It's kind of different. These two are such liars and so dodgy and corrupt. You're literally bullshitting about your characters. You're horrible people. But we're so lucky. And I said this on the other Q&A. It's like, I wish the audience knew the time restraints you have on a TV show and how much work and how many people it takes to put a show together like this. We don't have all the time like the movies has and the big budgets and that. So it's a big credit to the people in Budapest and all the set designers and all that stuff. But what was the question I'm going on about?
Was there like one specific thing that sort of grounded you?
Oh, grounded me.
Yeah. Kind of
acting with these guys, I just try so hard not to embarrass myself. Pretty well. These guys are great, and great to be acting with them. And the grounding stuff, I guess it just for my character, just try to make the stakes as high as they can get, and make it mean the most it can mean to me when I'm going after. And then once you make it really important to you what you're trying to achieve, it makes it easier for me. Yeah.
TV does ask you to respond and to the most extraordinary amount of things in a very short space of time, and that we had some scenes towards the end of this season where I think we were all drawing not only on our life experience but any experience we'd ever had to keep up with the demands of this incredibly emotionally complex, never mind the plot, but if you play for truth as Travis does and we do, in the work that you do. It's actually, I know compared with working at the coalface, what we do is a piece of piss, but this was a demanding script to work on.
One of the great pleasures of doing the show was creating a company, and we had a lot of younger actors with us. We were all out in Budapest for a long time away from home. So a lot of them had, well, not a lot of them, some of them had like newborn babies and small children, and just for us as, in a way, leaders of the company, that was a great thing to create a sense of well-being, making sure everybody felt seen. And I have to say, there are a few of them here this evening. Our wonderful young actors that are here this evening. So,
Bravo.
They are marvellous.
Really.
Thank you. And you do make such a gorgeous kind of cohesive team as well. Emily, you've talked about being sort of maybe more comfortable, or at least more used to smaller sets, independent films. So what was it like for you to step onto the Dune Prophecy set?
Yeah, I'm a little bit out of my lane, I guess.
Absolutely not. But
well, in a way, it's the same wherever you do it. You just have to find the place that feels authentic, and that the story really makes sense. And I was just saying the other day, I think being an actor, you have to be a bit of an idiot, really, or just a bit stupid. Well, because I feel like you have to. There's a part of you that actually has to believe it. Right. It's like you're a child doing make believe, and the best kids really do believe it. It's like that's what it is. That's kind of the job. And in the back of your head, you're still thinking, "Oh God, I've got to pay the rent," all of those things. But it's not that. Yeah. But it's.
We had a scene where we've worked in theatre for years, and there was a scene that was the absolute emotional climax of the season that we shot in a place that looked really like the National Theatre car park. And once
it's not a glamorous place,
you couldn't forget it. And I've been quite sick in the National Theatre car park, and so it was. Suspension of disbelief is a powerful tool.
You guys have worked together. You've kind of had this long-standing relationship as well. So does that help you develop a shorthand on something like this when you're playing sisters?
We haven't actually worked together.
Oh,
we've known each other. We were both at the Royal Shakespeare Company back in the early 90s. But we haven't worked together because there just haven't been, shows of this nature with two women in their 50s leading the crowd. And here we are. So that's a very great thrill.
Men in movies usually only have one mother, one wife, and one child. Yes. So that's the casting range usually available for women. But here we are, this wonderful array of women. And Travis.
Travis also there. Honorary women.
We have some gorgeous actors as well. Yeah. So we have to acknowledge them.
Shout out.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant.
So what was it like then for you finally to get to work together?
Well, in a way, I mean, we have such a shared background. We've come up through theatre, and then sort of, much to our own surprise, found ourselves doing movies in Hollywood and, all of that stuff. Yeah. So occasionally we'd meet in the Four Seasons in LA and go, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" Whoa.
Last time we'd seen each other was, outside the Dirty Duck in Stratford-on-Avon. So it was, but I think the attitude is, we don't come to a set with a pre-prepared performance that we've worked out in front of the bathroom mirror. And if Emily does one thing, then I will adjust my performance to what she's given me. It's much more of a conversation and a tennis match than a competitive sport, possibly.
Yeah. And Travis, he couldn't be here, but you get a lot of scenes opposite Mark Strong. So, I mean, he's fabulous.
Yeah, no, it's great. He's so experienced. I really look forward to those scenes. And he beat me at tennis.
The clue's in the title. He's called Mr. Strong for a reason.
Yeah. Olivia and I both have history with Mark.
Oh.
Yeah.
He was Mr. Knightley to my Jane Fairfax, if there are any Jane Austen fans.
And he was...
Yeah, that's me, yeah.
Jane Austen fans.
He was Astrov to my Sonia in Uncle Vanya. And every night he fell in love with Helen McCrory and not me.
Oh.
So revenge is a dish best served cold.
Poor Mark Strong. And Travis, in kind of film and TV, we're often used to thinking about things in quite like black and white, you know, good versus evil. Do you think that applies here with Desmond?
Yeah, I think it applies to all the characters.
Yeah.
It's a very thought-provoking script in a way. You don't know who's good, who's bad. Everybody's got a hidden agenda, you know, and it's one big puzzle or riddle for the audience to work out. But I'm definitely a good guy.
What about the Bene Gesserit?
Yeah,
Well, that's something that's...
issues.
Sorry, is that a question for Travis?
He's answering now. Go on.
Tell us what you think
I
about
got
the Bene
nothing nice
Gesserit.
to
Be careful
say,
what
no.
you say.
My mother said not to say anything.
If you can't say nothing nice, don't say anything at all. Is that what your mum said?
That's fine.
Well, I mean, that's one of the great things about being in this show. It's a morally ambiguous sort of soup of, there is, things that you think are going to turn out to be heroic or not. And it's very complex.
Yeah.
One of the things I found interesting were all the markers from the novel in the 60s of what makes a liar, which is someone with a raised pulse rate in the vein in their neck or a slight sweat coming out. The liars I'm seeing on the TV, their pulse isn't quickening. And I think actually in the present day and maybe in 10,000 years' time, it's increasingly difficult to work out who's lying and who's telling the truth. But the Bene Gesserit, no.
But how did knowing the fate of the Bene Gesserit, 10,000 years later, affect the way that you play these characters?
I think you need to be asking Timothée Chalamet, it's like, what does having Olivia Williams in your past mean to the way you're playing your character?
If only Timothée Chalamet was here today. And finally, are there kind of is there like a really memorable scene that you love that you're really excited for audiences to watch you in?
I like episode 6, where a lot of the questions that the audience will have will be answered, and at the same time, a lot of new questions arise, which will hopefully intrigue them into the second.
There's a lot of
season.
things going on in the basement. Just watch out for that.
I love that, Olivia.
We had a great time with, I think it's episode 3, where a couple of phenomenal actors came along and played our younger selves, and basically meant we didn't have to do any homework into our backstory. They shout out to Emma and Jess, who play young Tula and young Valia, and I think for those who are looking for the origin story, firstly of the Bene Gesserit, and secondly of why the Harkonnens are so angry, you're gonna love episode 3.
And what will fans of the films get from the TV show, do you think?
Well, instead of sand, we've got damp and moss. So you've got that slight sort of, change of vibe, keeping the planets, the production design is, we had to honour that extraordinary precedent set by Villeneuve and the incredibly high standards of filmmaking, which even though this is a TV show, I hope you feel that from what you've seen tonight, it stands up as movie making.
It is incredibly cinematic.
The production and lighting.